This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
This time of year, everybody's thinking about taxes a lot as we prepare for the April deadline.
Right.
There is a new tax break for seniors in 2026 that could make a real difference. Thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, anyone 65 or older can claim an extra deduction, $6,000 for singles, $12,000 for couples. That's on top of the standard deduction, which is a nice perk for seniors. It can really add up. However, and let me correct myself because I said anyone 65 or older can claim the extra deduction, which I guess is true, except for the fact that the deduction does phase out for higher income levels. But for those who qualify, it is substantial. So how do you help folks understand where they fall within the limits and also maximize this and other benefits?
Well, first off, you need to know the rules to the game, right?
Yep.
So you need to be working with or should be working with, a fiduciary financial advisor, retirement planner, professional CPAs, estate planning attorneys, just in general, who know the rules to the game when it comes to comprehensive planning, tax law, retirement planning, estate planning, all these things. You've got your life savings at risk, right? You've got your life savings at hand. Wouldn't you want to know that all the work you did to get to the point, to get to where you are today, is in the best possible position, right, as possible. Yeah. And so when it comes to this new, One Big Beautiful Bill Act and some extra senior deductions, there can be some additional tax relief. Let's talk about some of them. It can add significant tax relief for seniors, $6,000 in extra deductions for singles, $12,000 in extra deductions for couples. As you mentioned, it comes on top of the standard deduction, Heather, and existing age-based add-ons. The extra cushion could help to lower taxable income. It could reduce it, even eliminate a tax bill potentially for retirees. It can flip a tax bill into a refund.
Yep. For
seniors with modest income and steady withholdings, the additional deduction may push taxable income below key thresholds. That shift could turn what would have been a payment into a refund, especially when combined with credits. It can stack with other deductions and credits. Seniors can layer these new deductions with the standard deduction and other age-related tax breaks. And when combined, these benefits can create meaningful tax savings and greater flexibility in retirement planning. But as you also mentioned, they can phase out, and they do phase out. So full deductions are available for singles with modified adjusted gross income levels under $75,000, couples under $150,000, with phase-out starting above those levels and ending respectively at $175,000 and $250,000.
Okay.
So staying within these limits maximizes the benefit. One of the biggest reasons that a lot of clients come on board Abich Financial and work with us is for the tax planning. And, it's one thing to have accumulated and amassed a lot of wealth, right? To have done really well saving. It might be a great real estate portfolio, could be crypto, gold and silver, stocks, bonds, annuities, whatever you have. You've probably worked 40 to 50 years to get to the point where you have a nice number, that number that should last you for the rest of your life. And then you realize, or a lot of people realize when you get into your 50s and 60s, that even though you've done a great job of saving, that a lot of times, a lot of that money is pre-taxed. Because I personally believe that one of the greatest myths of retirement planning is that when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket simply because you're not working anymore. And I think that's what a lot of people were told as they were working in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Max out your 401k, Heather. Take the tax break now, because when you retire, you're not going to be working. You'll be in a lower tax bracket.
Right.
True for some, not true for so many people. Especially a lot of people across the DC metro area that have pensions, Social Security checks, and have saved $2, $3, $4, $5 million plus dollars, have real estate properties, and all these things. So we just recently met with a couple that is in their later 50s, retiring this year, $5 million accumulated, in between a 6 and a 7 on our risk scale. That's going to be somewhere between a 60 to 70% in equities, 30 to 40% in fixed income and safer vehicles. They're here in Loudoun County. The majority of their $5 million is pre-taxed. One of their biggest problems and concerns, hey, if you're 58, your Social Security can't even start until 62, right? Here this couple is 3 or 4 years away from being able to take their first Social Security check if they did take it at 62. Very concerned with taxes on that $5 million. How can we lower that tax burden as much as possible on the $5 million? And Abe and the team, we're retiring. Our wages are ending. How can we replace our paychecks? How can we replace our wages, the checks that we were dependent on for the last 30 plus years, every single 2 weeks in our bank accounts. How can we create that income so that we can be confident, pull the trigger, and fully retire without looking back? How do we replace that wage income? Should we pull down cash? Should we take money out of non-qualified accounts, any non-qualified monies we have? Should we take money out of IRAs or 401ks? Should we leave money behind in a 401k since they're not yet 59 and a half? There are ways and workarounds, the rule of 55, 72 Ts, and there are different strategies you can use to actually get access to dollars before 59 and a half if you've left employers and have fully retired without penalty. So the solution for them was a comprehensive phase 2 plan that we talk about here every single week on the show, but with a focus and an emphasis on tax strategy, risk reduction. They were also close to 90% in equities, realizing they needed to come down to between 60 and 70%, and realizing that the more they have, $5 million, and the more it grows, the more taxes will likely affect them down the road.
Yeah.
So a focus on tax strategy, risk reduction, and a withdrawal strategy. We helped them with all those things. And one of the key things for them to kind of see how it all came together, 2 reports specifically, an income plan and a tax mapping report. With an income plan, you've got a roadmap. You can now see, hey, I've got all this money. Here's how all these pieces are going to come together. Here's where all this income is going to come from. Here's the withdrawal strategy we're recommending that should be most tax efficient, that should be most efficient when it comes to your investments and things like that. And that tax mapping report and tax strategy really helped them kind of see what we could do with the money they have now and help them into the future. If you're 55 years old and older, you've saved $500,000 or more in manageable assets, you don't have a comprehensive plan, you don't have a tax strategy, you don't have a withdrawal strategy that will show you how your money should be able to last you the rest of your life, to give you the confidence you need to pull the trigger and retire. Pick up the phone right now, and for the next 5 callers and others, we want to offer you your own tax mapping report and strategy, just like we did for this couple.
571-570-3559 is that number to dial right now for your tax mapping report and strategy, one customized to you and your goals. Give us a call right now. Let's set a time. 571-570-3559. That's 571-570-3559 for your tax mapping report and strategy. Another headline that I saw, Abe, that caught me off guard. I mean, we love seeing headlines about tax breaks. Ones we do not like seeing headlines about are the plummeting confidence that Americans have in our retirement planning. Apparently, it's at an all-time low. It's lower than it was in 2020. All right, think about everything that was hitting the fan in the year 2020.
Yep, a lot of stuff.
At that time, 83% of people thought that they would have a successful retirement. Cut to today, only 70% of people think that they will have a successful retirement. This is an all-time low for Americans. This research found that instead of looking forward to our golden years, Americans are more fearful than ever. This is despite 3 years of double-digit gains that have fueled our 401ks. What do you think is the reason for this attitude change? And more importantly, how can you help to fix and flip this mindset for folks?
Yeah, that's really unfortunate that confidence is going down. I really believe the biggest reason for the lack of confidence for people that are approaching retirement or maybe even in retirement is the lack of a plan, right? The lack of a comprehensive plan. And it's our understanding that the majority of the industry are what we call phase 1 accumulation-based advisors and firms, right? And the big names out there, the firms that predominantly help people save and grow and invest and accumulate. Until one day you get to 60, 65, 70, 58, and you're like, well, at the rate, I've got $3 million now. I've got $5 million, and I'm getting tired, or I'm not satisfied at work anymore, and I've got new grandkids, and I want to retire. Can I retire?
Yeah.
If the focus is just pure growth and rate of return, right, then that's not a comprehensive plan. If you've got $3 million in a 401k or IRA, that's not a plan.
Yeah.
That's a bucket of money. So I think the biggest reason for the lack of confidence is the lack of a comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Right. And that's really unfortunate because at the point of retirement, these should be the best years ahead. These should be the best years of our lives. I mean, we're like in some ways reinventing ourselves, and we want to live a life with purpose. We want to live a life with possibility. We want to do everything we just worked 40 years so hard to get to. Right. And the fact that people are approaching retirement or even in retirement and not confident is just, I don't know, for me personally and for our company here at Abich, that's what drives us. That's what drives us. It fuels us to be excited to come to work and to help people, because so many people need the help. But a couple key things that can help boost that confidence.
Yeah.
Developing a comprehensive strategy, considering different income options. Look, you probably have the pile of money that you need to retire. Your wages are ending or have ended, and you need that income to be consistent, just like it was when you were working. Healthcare options, we need a plan for long-term care and things like that. And we definitely need a plan for volatility. I mean, this could be, you look at 2025, the S&P was down almost negative 20 at the bottom. That was like at the end of March, around that time frame. And it ended up around positive 17. That's a 37% swing in like 9 months. So we need to be prepared for volatility. And there's tons of things that can happen out there to spook the markets. But you need a plan that can be resilient. You need a plan that can weather the ups and downs. We just helped a couple in Clifton, $6 million, late 60s, just retired, no retirement plan. $6 million. You may say, well, Abe, they're probably going to be fine. They got $6 million. I'll tell you, oftentimes, people that come in with a lot of money are just as nervous as people that might have a small amount of money. They were not confident in retiring. They wanted a retirement plan. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Without a plan, how can you be fully confident? We put together a comprehensive plan and strategy for them to include a portfolio X-ray on all their investments, because one of the biggest risks we see at the point of retirement is taking on too much risk, investing as if you were still 40 or 45 years old. We put together a portfolio X-ray and analysis to help them understand all the investments that included their 401ks, IRAs, and things like that. That was one of the biggest things that helped them to kind of see, hey, we're at the point of retirement. We have more money than we'll probably ever go through. Let's reduce risk. Let's put together an income plan. Let's protect ourselves from as many of the risks that can mess this up right now. Let's control what we can. If you're listening right now, you're 55 and older. You've saved $500,000 or more in manageable assets. You're not fully confident in your retirement plan or may not have one. Let's start with a portfolio X-ray and analysis, just like we did for this couple in Clifton. To the next 5 callers and others, complimentary.
The number to dial, 571-570-3559. A phrase that has been tossed around for decades. The idea of the millionaire next door is one that I think a lot of people, probably especially the kind of people that listen to us here on the radio each week, that come into the office at Abich Financial, have this millionaire next door mentality, because it's a low key energy that a lot of people like. People that have wealth but never show it. They never talk about it. Some call them even the stealthy wealthy. What are some of the traits, some of the things that they're doing, and what can we learn from those?
Well, a couple things. So a lot of times wealthy people are private about their wealth, right? They keep their finances discreet, which protects themselves from fraud, financial crimes, things like that. They avoid status symbols. They might drive, really modest cars, live in a modest house. I mean, I think Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, I believe he lived in a pretty simple house. He's
stayed in
worth
Omaha.
So much money, and I think he was eating at McDonald's, every morning for breakfast.
Wasn't it Ted Turner that was famous for like driving his Sable for decades? He just didn't have a fancy car. Yeah.
That's right. Tracking and directing every dollar. A survey by Northwestern Mutual found that a whopping 84% of wealthy individuals had a financial plan, compared to just 52% for the general public. So, when you do see people come in with $5, $10, $15, $20 million, sometimes it's typically, they've typically done a lot of planning. Typically, not all the time.
Right. But
oftentimes much more intentional about really tracking everything. Tax efficiency. The more money you have, the more wealth you've built, the more important taxes is. We've talked about that all the time. And although your tax situation might be different from someone with a lot of money, it doesn't mean you can afford to neglect a tax plan for yourself. And then multiple streams of cash flow. We've talked about this plenty of times on the radio. If you just have income coming in from one source, and let's say that's the stock market, and the stock market goes down and you're not diversified, that would be kind of maybe even foolish if in retirement, if you have the money you need to retire with dignity and confidence. So a lot of those things come into play. And sometimes people have money, and sometimes you'll never know. We just had a lady come in recently that does have $10 million saved and invested, not including real estate.
Wow.
Just $10 million in the stock market.
Yeah.
And you would never know that based on her appearance. Just a normal looking, middle American baby boomer, that just dresses normally, and she didn't have any big diamonds on her fingers or anything like that, or a Louis Vuitton purse or something like that.
Yeah.
Just dressed really modestly, and but you'd be surprised, Heather. She's got $10 million, and she was just as worried as almost so many people that come through our doors because she didn't have a plan.
Yep.
And a lot of that was in stock, taking on a lot of risk, and there's just no more need. Right? It's more money than she'll probably ever go through in her lifetime. She's going to be able to pass a ton of money on to her son, which is important. And but she was just as nervous as so many people are because she didn't have a plan. So one big solution here, no matter how much money you have, is to focus on yourself, control what you can, put together a plan tailor-made and specialized for you, right? Build out your own plan, tune out all the noise out there and focus in on your own financial plan and everything you want to accomplish over your lifetime with your money. We put together a retirement income plan for her because one of the biggest things you want to do is be able to spend and enjoy this money before it's too late. You don't want to wait till 85 years old to be able to enjoy your money. You want to do it in your go-go years. Mm-hmm. How could she enjoy this $10 million while she's alive? How can she pass it on in the most tax-efficient ways to her son? Those are her two biggest goals.
Okay.
We showed her how to do that. If you're 55 and older, you save $500,000 or more in manageable assets, and you want to be confident in your retirement income plan, you want to know how you can spend with confidence in retirement, pick up the phone right now for the next 5 callers and others. We want to offer you a retirement income plan as well.
Abe and his team, they're here to help you do that. So it's theretirementkey.com to start the conversation, or you can just click on the links we've got posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.